Alright guys, we're doing another tutorial. So this is the clip that you guys decided over on Instagram that you wanted to learn how to play. So let's go. So we're pretty much going to do this the same way that we've done it the other times. So I'm going to play through the progression slowly, and then we're going to break it down, look at the chords, look at the individual notes, and look at the small little techniques. And hopefully you guys will be able to learn it and share it with me so I can post it back on my Instagram, because it's so much fun seeing you guys learn it. So here's the thing, play it in a slower tempo. Alright, so as you can see, that's a pretty big compilation of notes. So we're going to break it down into same kind of parts that we've been doing it earlier. First, now I'm going to look at the chords. So there are two different types of chord progressions. There's the one that you play in the beginning, and there's the one that goes underneath when you play the solo. So if you want to do this actual thing, you should use like a loop pedal or just record the other progression and have that playing underneath when you start playing the solo. So this is the first thing that you play in the clip. It starts with an A major over F sharp. So you play 7, 9, 10 from the D up to the B string, and then you add this F sharp on the 9th fret of the A string. Next one is kind of like an F6 at 9. So you have this 8th fret, 7th fret, 7th fret, 8th fret. It's an E minor 9, 7, 5, 7, 7, A major, A or B. So you just move the bass down 2 frets. I just use a thumb. You can also do like something like that. So that's the first time around. Second time around, you go same notes, same chord to start with. Next one is a G major, 10, 9, 7, 8. Kind of an A6 type of thing. 12, 11, 11. Up to the B minor 9, 14, 12, 14, 14. Slide that shape 2 frets down. Same shape down here to 12, 10, 12, 12. Then you get to C over D. So this 10, 9, 8 with a 10 in the bass there on the E string. So that's the chord progression that you play in the beginning. We'll look at the notes and stuff in between later on. And then there's the chord progression that goes underneath the soloing that you do. So this is how that goes. You start with a B minor 9, 2 open, 2 2, and a D, or F sharp. This normal D thing with a F sharp in the bass. Same chord, just with a G in the bass. So you just move the bass note, fret up, and this E minor. So that's the chord progression that you want to loop. It goes like this. That's what loops underneath when you play the solo. Though that chord progression kicks in when you jump into the overdrive part, when you start with this bend. That's when this chord progression starts. So you might want to consider also looping if you want to do the same video, because this first section there, that whole thing goes over this progression. So if you want to do this video and you want to do the same thing exactly, you want to loop both of those chord progressions. I would just record it into some type of recording software and then, you know, play it after you've been playing the chord progression yourself. So now we're going to take a look into like the specific notes and the specific kind of licks that happen in between the chords, and obviously the soloing that happens afterwards. So kind of the main thing to this this whole kind of progression in the beginning here is that you kind of combine the idea of single notes and chords. So the first thing that you do is you play 7th fret on D string, and you go up to 9th, and you do the same movement on the G string. So it's, and then you land on this first chord. So the idea is that movement is actually, but you land with the chord underneath. And then you go first 3 chords just after each other. And when you get to this A, you add 3 notes. So you play the chord and then you add the 7th fret on the B, and then you pluck the E string on top. And then you land on this A over B. And on the G string, when you have your 6th fret, you add the 7th fret. And then you do the same movement. Just play the chords. And then you do, you know, 14th, 16th, 14th on the D and G string. Land the chord. Slide down, chord. So you're just doing like a couple of small melodies and you just play the chords. So then, at this point, when you ring out this C over D, you bring out your guitar pick, and then you get ready to play this next lick, which is based on that you play a lick, but you add an interval underneath it. So the lick itself, I consider just being, but you just add like an interval underneath. So this interval in specific, I would just add the 5th or, you know, the 4th down. So you play the 7th fret on the A and D string, and then you do the same just on the 9th fret, and then you do the same on the D and G string, and you slide up to the 11th fret. So it's, and then you land on the 7th fret again. You do a hammer on from the 7th to the 9th, still just playing 2 notes at the same time. And then you do like a really quick slide up and down 1 fret. And then you land on the 7th, so it's, and then you go 7 9 7 9, A and D, D and G. And then you do this other lick, which is G and B string, 9th and 10th fret. Slide that up to 11th and 12th. And then when you slide up to the 11th and 12th, you land down the 7th fret on the G and B string. And then you want to make your way down to this 9th fret on the D and G by just kind of sliding down to it and plucking before, strumming the strings before you land there. So you kind of go, you're not playing any official notes before you end up on the 9th fret, but that's kind of like your destination. Down the 7th and then back to this. And then 7, 9, 7. And then you get to this kind of neo-soul lick type thing that a lot of people are doing these days. 7th fret bar chord on the top 4 strings. Add the 9th fret on the E string. And then pluck the 7th string again. And then the 10th fret on the B string. 7th, 9, 7. And you do the same idea, only with another shape. So the next shape is bar on the 9th fret, and then add the 10th fret on the B string, and then you add the 12th fret, and then go down to the bar chord. And then when you get to the G string, you do the 11th fret. Then you go up here to this next shape, which is bar on the 14th, add the 15th fret on the B string, and do the same shape as you did down here, just up higher up here. So 14, 17, 17, 15, 16, 14. And then the last little shape here is the 12th fret up to the 14th on the E, 15th on the B, 12, 14, 12. And then you ring your open E string. So as you ring this open E string, you go to the 5th fret on the B string, 7th fret, 5th fret on E string, 7th fret, and then you do hammer on from the 7th to the 9th fret. And then you just strum twice while you slide down. So now that you've gotten to the overdrive part, this is where you want to change the chord progression that you might be having playing in the background to the next one. First thing you want to do is to bend up from the 9th fret. Kind of a bluesy bend, you don't need to go all the way up to like the 11th fret. Land on the 7th, and then lick goes like you slide from 10th to 9th. Land on 7th. Hammer on from the 9th to the 11th. Land on the 7th. And then you go 7, 9 on the D string. And then slide 1 fret up from the 6th to the 7th fret on the B string. And then 7, 8, 10. Same slide up to the 7th. Go to the 7th on the G string. And then you go hammer on from the 9th to the 11th on the G string. And add like a pretty aggressive vibrato to it. And then hammer on and mute on the 7th fret, 9th fret. And then you go 7, 9 on the D string. Then you want to go 10th fret on the B, and then bend that up, and then play the 7th fret on the E string. So you kind of reach up to that note. Slide from 10th to 9th on the G, and then 7th. And then you do the same kind of idea, just 2 frets up. Same little thing on the G string, and then you bend on the 12th fret on the E, and then land on 10th fret. And then you could either go like that on 12th fret, or you could go up here like I like doing, up to the 17th fret, and then play the 15th fret on the E string. Land on the 15th on the B string. So that's that kind of like incline lick up there. And then you want to do this thing that I do, kind of like this decline, where you start on the 10th fret on the B and E string, hammer on, the 12th fret on the B string, then slide from the 11th to the 9th, down to 7th, and as you pick that 11th fret on the G string, you kind of want to add the B and E string. So that's how you get that kind of sound on the downstroke. And then same idea with the 9th fret on the G string, 10th fret on the B, and then hammer on from 9 to 11 on the G, slide down to the 9, 7, 9 on the D string. And then same idea on the 9th fret on the D and G string, hammer on from 9 up to 11 on the D. And then you slide down to the 9th fret, and then 7, so. And then you land on the 9th fret on the A string. And then you go 7, 9 on D string, 7 on the B string. And then you do this incline all the way up, which goes same bend as before, 10th, reach up to that 7th fret on the E string, 12, reach up to that 9th fret on the E string, 15th fret, reaching up to that 12th fret on the E string, 17th fret, reaching up to that 14th on the E string, and then 20th fret, reaching up to that 17th fret. And you do this last bend on the 19th fret, bend 2 frets up, and then you slide down to the 17th fret on the B string and land on the 15th. And then you want to do the same idea as you did with that decline before, just way up here. So this is a 17th fret, hammer on to 19th while you ring out that 17th fret on the E string. And then you go slide down to that 16th fret on the G string, land on the 14th. Same idea. It's actually just the exact same shape as you did up here. So you go 16th to 18th while holding the 17th here. Slide down to 16th, land on that 16 to 14. Do two more strums while sliding, and you get to this last section right here where you want to really keep a good, the main idea of it is to just keep this flow, keep this one steady movement throughout the whole thing. So you want to get really used to playing fourths at the same time. So it's pretty much the same shape as before, but it's a little bit altered. So you want to go 7 to 9 on the A and D string, and then 7 to 9 on the D and G, up to 11, and then land on the 7th, and then so exactly the same as before the first time, but then you get to this 7, 9, 7, 9, and then you want to hammer on from 9 to 11 on the D and G string. And then go up to 12th, and then do the same hammer on. And then you want to do this first you strum the string, and then you do the hammer on, no, the pull off. So it's kind of like a technique that gives it more like a flow, it's kind of on its back, but at the same time it has this drive to it. So you're gonna go, and then you want to do the exact same idea, just one octave up, which becomes, the 9, 10 on the B and G, and then 11, 12, and then 10, 12 on the B and E, slide up to 14, land on 12. Same idea as before, you just do the new shape. 12, 14, 15. So that's it basically for the tutorial. Leave a comment if you have any questions. The way that I solved it, the way that I did, you know, the video and all, so I just had this, I had the thing running in Logic, and I had the beat running in Logic, and then I recorded the chord progressions prior to it, and I knew that the first section was like a select amount of bars, and then when you get to the part where you want to solo, the chords should just come in on the right time. You can also just use the loop pedal and just trigger the different chord progressions how you feel like it. Let me know how you get going with it, and thanks for watching.